Welcome everyone on our session, and thank you Europeana to make it happen. During pandemic and lockdown, cultural heritage institutions are meeting their audience online. The digital way to educate and serve the users has put on the table the fact that only data and content is not enough. The audience wants knowledge. Our task is to turn data into knowledge, which means the contextualization of information that memory institutions are keeping. We know that cultural heritage are not just objects, but histories built up from data. That is why our company created Qulto ReCat, Recatalog, knowledge graph builder tool. This solution gives possibilities to share and connect databases by creating a logical, dynamic knowledge graph. In our presentation, we will show use cases on how this graph can be used, and how we can transform cultural heritage database with semantic technologies into a dynamic digital knowledge representation graph database. We are a group of young people with passion towards cultural heritage. Most of our team are system architects, programmers, librarians, museologists, project managers, and so on. We have more than 20 years of professional experience with cultural heritage data. We have more than 400 institutional partners from 4 countries. So, Qulto ReCat, Recatalog module, the knowledge graph builder tool, which is designed for cultural heritage data resources, lets you to connect your data with open namespaces for personal records, geolocation, other authority files. It has an ontology editor, so you can process your data, and proceed with semantic modeling and process your data into the graph database. And you can enrich the data with artificial intelligence tool or text mining. It is also capable of supporting crowdsourcing and visualization of the graph. And of course, you have several ways to build your service points, applications on top of the graph with REST APIs, Spark UR queries, Graph UR queries. To give you an overview, here is a video to watch. So the first use case I would like to show you is the further developed OPAC library catalog, which contains the whole FRBR concept together with copyright information. Such FRBR catalog is different from a traditional library catalog, with having information from the expression and work level of an entity. Traditional library catalogs, bibliographic data, and item records only deal with the manifestation and item level of different editions of documents. On the FRBR OPAC, it is possible to start to discover library data from the work level, which makes the user much easier to find a solution for his or her problem. And under the work level, there are the expressions for different editions, recordings, translations, retelling, illustrations, which may have different copyright information for translators, illustrators. With this interface, it is very easy to discover all types of information and find the right edition for the user to choose. It is also possible to add geographic locations to a work, famous places from the story, famous places from the writer's biography. For educational purposes, it is very useful to visualize all these places on a map. We have further developed this concept. We've created a mobile application. We call it LiteraTour. This is an application for tourism. The main use is that the application offers tourists with literary sites nearby. So from the knowledge graph, the application is able to search for locations of works, for also for example, touristic sites like statues of famous writers, and send notification to the user that there is an interesting spot nearby to visit. It is also useful for education to connect museum artifacts from museum catalogs to library catalogs. For example, in the case of a novel that took place in the Middle Ages, there are several objects that are not used nowadays, like weapons and clothes and other artifacts, but museum catalogs have images and content about these objects. So it is easier for teachers to show the students and explain the students what they are reading about. So a knowledge graph by recatalog tool can be built upon a local library database or multiple library databases by querying data through the Z3950 protocol or OIA server. And after the semantic modeling, and the triplet database is stored and can serve multiple local web discovery interfaces. And now I would like to show you in live how this semantic modeling works in the reCatalog tool. The use case is that the librarian would like to add the new node to the FRBR knowledge graph. The first step is to log into reCatalog module. The module can have more catalogs integrated. The librarian can choose the desired catalog where the record sits. Let's choose the Voyager catalog in order to enrich the knowledge graph. Here, we can search for the record in the integrated catalog. Let it be from Márai, a famous Hungarian writer. The desired record is a French translation of a Márai novel. Then the librarian presses the FRBR button to start the FRBRization process. The first step of the process is mark validation. ReCat tool, in this case, contains the precise marked entry standard in order to check the records for errors. Here, 3 issues were found. For field 850, there are subfields in use which are not allowed in the standard. In order to easily correct the mark record, the system supports the librarian with hotkeys, in this case for deleting the subfield. When it is done, we can see that according to the standard, we also need to fix field 700. When all the bugs are corrected, we can finish the mark validation process. The next step is the semantic validation. Here you need to fix pieces of data which don't fit the preset ontology rules. One of them, in this case, is an incorrect UDC code. The other one is a missing VIAF identifier. This means to add a new subfield to field 100 with a hotkey function. We need to look for the right identifier in the VIAF database. And then you need to insert it to build an automatic reference to Márai's personal record file in VIAF. After correcting every semantic mistake, we are ready with the semantic validation. Going further with the process, the system visualizes the outcome. Here you can see the partial graph the system can build from a marked record. You are able to check every statement. If they are correct, you can add the triplets to the graph database. So thank you for following us. We are waiting for your questions and comments. We are ready to answer you live, and we are also looking for institutions with similar ideas in mind, we are ready to cooperate on interesting projects.